Hello, live people. You may be live. I'm all cleaned up. Sorry to disappoint. No sweaty Hewlett's today. I'm afraid I'm all cleaned up. So can't talk for long because I have impending parents. Yes, at any moment my parents could descend upon this place, and I must stay a far distance away from them because none of them have been vaccinated because we live in Toronto. Toronto and Ontario are taking their damn sweet time getting the whole vaccination things going. It's David. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Brick Tech. Mary Lou, ASMR, Claire Ann, Andrian. Oh my God, there's so many Ans involved. The wonderful and talented Fox Girl. Hello, Fox Girl. And who else do we have here? Good Lord, it's like this finger, the giant finger. Hello, giant finger. That's how I do my scrolling. Why does it scroll on the same side as the... That seems like an odd choice. Tony from the UK. Oh, my beloved UK. I do love the UK. Morning, Randy. We're still going to talk to you about that magician stuff tomorrow. It's possible I may have to move it, but I will get in touch. I'm sorry, I hope I haven't thrown you off. Marcus Persh. Wesley, did I say Mary Lou? Mary Lou, beautiful rot. Dimitri, oh my God, there's too many people. Duncan, okay, I give up. All right, pretty kitty. Michael, who else have I got? Who else I could just quickly say hi to? Richard, all right, got it. Got most of you from Seattle. Wow, Duncan. Used to like Seattle. I mean, I still do. Just haven't been there for a long time. But we used to live on the on that best coast over there and quite enjoyed it. So as I say, the parents are descending. So I did a full on cleanup, including a bathroom for them. So wrinklies only. That's where we're going with that. So I just wanted to make sure that they had a bathroom. Just to get. Here's what I've discovered about older people, is it's all about where the bathrooms are. I don't think either of them particularly suffer from these things particularly, but I just think it's something that you start worrying about as you get older. I've already started considering it at times. So I'm thinking that it must just get more progressive as you go. So I like to make sure that whenever I have, wrinklies visiting, that they know exactly that there is a bathroom that is being completely scrubbed and cleaned, and in this case, actually sprayed with a fine misting of 70% isopropyl alcohol, which I actually learned from my mycelium tutorials on fruiting mushrooms. That the 70% is better because it takes longer to evaporate, so it actually kills more things, if that makes sense. So, did you figure out the buzz noise on your setup? I did, Randy. I've basically torn the entire thing apart and reduced to the absolute simplest possible setup that I can have. And I have to sort of like lock it in today, make sure all the cables are working, and do some rewiring because the cables are everywhere. But what I want to do is is basically have a setup that no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a Zoom chat or I don't know, or a Discord, whatever, that I have a setup that I do not have to physically change anything on, that I can just do some software changes or press a couple of buttons or whatever. I want it to be set up and I don't want to touch it again so I'm basically dedicating my PC laptop to running this thing. I give up on the Mac. I just, as a streaming machine, it just there's buzz coming out of both of them, to be honest. It's definitely a power issue here. I just don't want to. I just keep buying freaking contraptions to help fix things, and there's a part of me that goes, should I even be using this ATM Mini? Like it's definitely overkill for what I've got. Sorry, I just made eggs, and we couldn't find the egg peppercorns, which we normally have peppercorns when you go and you crush them, but they it's lovely. Instead, I have a little thing. I just have already ground black pepper, but they grind it so fine that when I go on my eggs, it goes whoosh, and then I'm like sneezing for the next day. So that explains my rather nasal talking today. So there you go. What else we got here? Your hat is in nuclear explosion mode again. Exactly, isn't it? It's even better when it goes like this. I just love this hat. Also, here's the other trick that I've discovered with the hat. The hat keeps my glasses on my ears with my hearing aids. The only problem is there's a lot of pressure there, so I've got to figure out something to do. What do I do with these hearing aids? Because I've got these hearing aids here. Hello, little hearing aids. Here you go. Let's have a look. Oh, pulling them out. There you go. So that's my little hearing aid. I have two of them now, obviously, but and they are a pain in the butt with any kind of masks. They're a pain in the butt with any kind of hat, not hat, glasses. Oh, I just broke it again. Damn it! Keep doing that. I gotta stop messing around. Why do I have to always? Why am I always recabling? Is that an ADHD thing? It's not COVID. It's allergies. I swear. Yeah. I mean, it is funny how there's just the whole idea that you might, the sickness it's taken on a kind of a Rise of the Planet of the Apes feel to it, doesn't it? The way it's like you have to sort of apologize if you exhibit any signs that could be misconstrued as sickness of any sort. It really is like so many sci-fi movies you've seen before. Anyways, if anyone's got any tips, I'm gonna try some double-sided tape and see if I can stick the hearing aids to the outside of my glasses, if there's enough cable there to do that. I also really want to do open source. I want open source hearing aids. I think it's ridiculous that we don't have open source hearing aids. The cost of these things is so prohibitively steep. This is another assistive tech thing. This is another thing. If you stick the idea that this could be a medical device on anything, and it immediately jumps up in price by like 1,000%, which kind of sucks. I understand that a lot of assistive tech is so customizable for people. Like it needs to be so specifically customized for people, so it can cost more because there's less people buying them. But surely there should be incentives, or I don't know, something, or maybe even just a company that consulted with assistive tech on ways of bringing them into the mainstream, like what Tobii's done with, or Tobii has done with their eye tracking and bringing it into the gaming world. Like, what about like I mean, like just like a consulting group that just goes in and goes, okay, so you're using, you know, like something like that fabulous quad stick, the quadstick.com folks. Is there something that could any of that technology be used in more mainstream ways that would allow you to mass produce and bring the costs down? Or is there a way of, buying them in one mass group so that the costs are lower because you're selling them by volume or something? Or is there a way, if there truly are too specific, if the responses are too specific, or the requirements are too specific for people, is there a way we could somehow, I don't know, rally makers together to fill in the gaps where there's no sort of business possibilities for this kind of stuff? I don't know. Assistive tech is fascinating to me. It's one. My wife has been talking to a number of publishers about books that they want to make into movies or TV shows and all that kind of stuff. And she was talking to a group that does a bunch of educational books, and they were like, "Oh, well, your Tech Bandits guy should do something for us." And I was like, "I don't know what I'd do." And then I thought, you know what? I think I would do assistive technologies, because assistive technologies as science, technology, engineering, arts, and math skills, because it's kind of a neat area that I haven't seen pursued a lot, or even at all. I would love to know if there's other people doing it. Allaccesslife.com, fabulous website about assistive technologies. But I'm wondering if there's perhaps a kind of a fun through line for that, where instead of building robots, you're building robotic arms, or assistive techs for the blind, or for there's just a number of different things here that I think could be kind of fun. Because imagine having that perspective as a kid. If you're seeing technology that you're learning about in school, and it's like, ho hum, wow, yeah, okay, so it's the technology that makes whatever possible. But if you're actually being able to make and work and design and create with people who have disabilities, you're seeing a whole other perspective on this stuff. And it's another whole design challenge as well, and an engineering challenge for the kids. Plus, they're seeing an actual benefit to what they're learning. So I found the kids get very excited about it. So, by the way, Tech Bandits tonight. I'm going to do a Tech Bandits tonight at 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. I'm about to hit MailChimp and send out the show notes via my emailing list. So please, please, please hop on over to thetechbandits.com and sign yourself up for our mailing list. Get yourself on there. If you don't mind, give us at least the country or the state or something You can make up stuff for the rest of the stuff. I don't need your specifics, and I don't want your specifics. I just really want where you are so that I can create a map and put everyone's pin on it. I like the idea of having a pin of all the Tech Bandits subscribers. So yeah, so that's we're talking about a few kind of fun things and some horrible things. There's an article in the New York Times. You'll see this when you sign up at thetechbandits.com. It's just shameless. And I'm gonna have to bail soon because I know my dad's just gonna start showing up. And if I don't get out there fast, he's gonna take off. He's gonna leave the stuff on the porch and then run away because he's terrified. So I'm gonna try to coerce him to stay. It's like the Little Prince and the Fox. I have to sort of lure him in with like maybe a piece of cake and a coffee, all of which is being carefully cleaned and prepared with a mask on and stuff, because he's obviously, understandably, quite paranoid. And as I say, our frickin' government has not sorted out vaccinations for the over 80 yet, and which is freaking shameful. But anyways, including a bunch of healthcare workers too. I mean, I'm talking to paramedics on set who haven't got vaccinated. They're paramedics. They're freaking people who work. They're working in freaking ambulances and hospitals and dealing with patients who I'm sure in many cases do have COVID or certainly been in contact with it, and they can't get the vaccinations, or they're getting the runaround from bureaucracy on, well, no, you should have already had it. He's like, well, I haven't, so what do I do? Well, I don't know, you should have already had it. It's very sort of Brazilian. Where is the Tech Bandit stuff? thetechbandits.com. Go there, sign up for the mailing list. And I'm going to update that. Hopefully going to throw a couple things on the website there today as well. But if you sign yourself up for the mailing list in the next hour, this afternoon, I'm going to send out the show notes for today's stuff. So you can actually read it in advance and have things to say to me and the nerds about it. The bandits about it. So we're the nerds. They're the bandits. But one of them is this New York Times article about sort of like doomsday predictions about the sort of the climate emergency stuff. And I was debating whether I should really be sharing it with the kids, because it's pretty freaking grim. I mean, it's talking about how, people basically boil to death at the equator in less than a couple of hours in the near future if we don't get this stuff sorted out. So, and also whether we can even get this stuff sorted out. And then what happens when the permafrost starts thawing, or it is already thawing. But what happens what happens with those methane emissions? What happens when we start trying to mine, what do they call it? Flaming ice, whatever it's called, or burning ice, or it's some kind of methane deposits that are trapped in ice crystals, and apparently we're now trying to mine that, as the last carbon-based burning fuel source. But of course, the risk is if we unleash more methane. Methane has some crazy multiple of the amount of effect it has on our on global warming because of just the nature of the gas itself. So, and I really am sniffly, aren't I? I mean, this is horrible. It's like dealing with. I'm like Sniffly the dwarf here. Actually, with the hat, it's actually quite. Yeah, I'm pretty much there. There you go. If they ever remake the Seven Dwarfs, maybe I can be Sniffly or something. And then methane methane clathrate. Okay, very good. Is that what it is? Save a tree, eat a cow. Yes, Adam, exactly the problem. And also, what could we do, and how are we willing to change? I mean, what are we willing to change? I'm still ordering freaking stuff on Amazon that shows up the next day. I mean, I do try to sort of package them together. I try to take the eco Uber when I do, but we're still freaking driving around. I'm still wearing plastic products and eating plastic products and meat products and all sorts of stuff. I mean, I'm seeing a definite sort of schism. It's like my favorite word, and I can't say it. Between my lifestyle and what I'm learning about, and what I'm concerned about, and how do you change that? And I worry a bit about the pandemic because, of course, we're producing an awful lot of plastic right now because we're wrapping everything and spraying everything with alcohol, and everything is in non-recyclable stuff because it's for fear of contamination and stuff. So I just think we got a lot of issues coming up that we've got to deal with. And I was very nervous about whether I should be letting the kids in on these kind of articles. But the reality is I realize they're out there looking at stuff anyways. One of the most terrifying things that I saw or listened to while they were chatting the other day was their experiences on Reddit, where they were going into subreddits that I'm sure most parents would shudder at the thought of, and I certainly do. But what are you going to do? I mean, I suppose you could block Reddit. I would rather they had the tools to process this stuff and maybe even be jarred into action on some of this stuff. I mean, some of the stuff on Reddit, I hope they're not jarred into action, frankly, because it's pretty grim stuff, or perhaps certainly not appropriate for work or school. But they're online all the time, right? That's their communication. That's their means of communication. That's their means of schooling right now for a lot of people. Our case numbers have just bounced up to 1,200 or something a day now. And if they shut down again, then we're back on full-time Zoom chats and stuff. So I don't know what, I think the best way to protect them is to protect them with the knowledge they need to process this stuff and to perhaps even do something about it. In fact, not even perhaps, and to do something about it, because their generation is going to start feeling this stuff in a bigger way than even we have or will. Anyways, so there was that. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about. There's the whole climate emergency stuff. There's the fact that we watched the SpaceX launch. The bandits and I watched the SpaceX launch together. It was great. It was cool. They actually were interested in that because there's fire, there's rockets. Strangely, they were much more interested in that than they were in the Perseverance landing, which blew me away. And there's new footage, by the way, of them flexing the arm now, which is just kind of cool as well. But we watched that rocket launch, and then we sort of moved on. And sure enough, moments later, as I found out yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, on one of these chats, I was informed that in fact it blew up. So our big debate was like, it's a rocket if it lands, it's a bomb if it blows up. So it was a rocket until it blew up. Now it's a bomb again. So I just thought that was kind of funny that we missed the exciting part of the launch, basically. And that could be the arrival of my parents right now. All right, so maybe I should wrap it up. Okay, I dreamt we and Elon Musk attended a huge wedding. Well, that'd be fun. It'd be kind of fun to be at a wedding with Elon Musk. Could you imagine Elon Musk at a wedding? He'd be cornered all the time, though. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? Like, he'd be like, you wouldn't be able to get to talk to him. Hi, David. Good morning. Question of the day. Emperador, how the hell are you? I feel like I haven't seen you forever. Have you ever enter, see, buy in the deep web? I have never ventured into the deep web. I've read a lot of books about it. Actually. And it's one of those things that I keep meaning to do, like fire up the old Onion browser and hit Tor. But I haven't done it. So maybe I should do that. That could be fun. I feel like it's one of those things that I feel like I need to know more about. But at the same time, I suppose you don't know more. You get very good at things if you do them a lot. So maybe I should go check that out. Emperador, are you doing stuff on the dark web? Are there other people out here who are on the dark web and have any sort of uses for it or interest in it? Amazing book, by the way, called what was it called? For God's sake, Silk Road. Silk Road. It was about the Dread Pirate Roberts and his Silk Road website where you could basically buy anything from heroin and LSD to hiring hitmen and stuff. And just an absolutely wonderful book to read, I gotta say. I freaking loved it. The guy who wrote it is so smart. He uses like tweets and Facebook posts and all this kind of stuff, and will look up things like the weather in that part of the world on that day, at that time, where the sun is, all that kind of stuff, so that when he writes about the incident, he can talk about the sun streaming through the window, like that kind of stuff, which I just thought was really, I mean, I don't know if it's actually true or not. I didn't look it all up, but I felt that his attention to detail and his attempts to make this, what could be quite dry material, very, it just came to life for me. It was a great book. Book I'm reading right now. By the way, the learn part of my Burn Alert today, I was on the torture device today. So I was reading that New York Times article, and there's two versions of it. The version that I've shared with everybody on the newsletter that everyone's going to sign up for now at thetechbandits.com. Go check that out, please. I will send out, there will be a link in there to the main article, but at the top of the main article, click the link where it says the annotated version, because there he addresses points, or she, I don't know who wrote it actually, to be fair, they address points that were made in the article that have been, argued about or have caused some friction in their online world. So they've followed up with more in-depth annotations and some links that will take you to the data or the sources of the data that they are referring to in the article, which in itself are just amazing. Like the guy who injected himself with a few million-year-old bacteria, I think it was. Was it a bacteria? I think it was a bacteria. There's some kind of a bacteria that or life form of some sort that they found in the permafrost that they believed was extending the life of the rats and stuff that they had infected with it. And this freaking Russian guy just injects it into himself and goes like, I've never felt better. I feel this and that. I'm like, holy crap. So I'd love to know more about that. So I followed up on a couple of links there. There's a YouTube video of him talking about it, but it doesn't really go into the specifics. Of course, it's very sort of, news of the day. Here's the, look, a cat up a tree. And this crazy Russian scientist injects himself with 40 million year old virus or whatever. So yeah, it does sound exactly like the thing, doesn't it? So, so there's just a few things there. And the other one, there are other things there. There's a few things. The other thing that was kind of fun is, oh my God, this slug. So the other day, Wolf brought up this. I am still having nightmares about those cricket worm things. Oh my God. They're just like, I feel slightly gaggy just talking about it. These hair worms that live in crickets. My eggs, hard to keep my eggs down. Anyways, but along that thinking, it seems that really the kids, again, respond really well to stuff that goes, wah! And it's this slug, this poor slug that's had its head severed. And its head just sort of goes sort of walking around its body, and its body's still moving, its head's still going. And then, like after a month, finally the body dies, but the head grows a new body. But it's just, oh my God, like fantastic from a science standpoint. Just let's inject ourselves with that stuff, huh? No, I'm not saying that. Don't do that, Russians. But the idea being that, again, it's just things that can sort of shock the kids into, what the hell? So there's that. And then finally, I had a great chat with Ari Berman and James Gurney yesterday, who were very kind to let this less informed, scientist on television join them in a chat that they had and fill in a bunch of gaps for me in my understanding. Some of the many gaps, the gaping holes. But just really fun to talk to them because I just felt that I thought there was an interesting connection between what they were doing. Him and James in the academic side of stuff, and Ari in the business side of sort of bioinformatics and the sciences and then also just these massive high performance computing systems that he's creating and working with many different institutions about. A really cool guy, really great chat. But I was lamenting the fact that my son was having to learn the parts of the cell in the same way that I was learning it, with an ugly black and white drawing where you can't tell what squiggly circle is what in the damn thing, and who gives a crap anyways because it's a freaking cartoon. So I was saying, like, where the frack are the damn high resolution colored or at least tinted images of these things where you can see them eating each other and growing and budding and all these cool things that cells do, that makes them alive, not little static drawings on a piece of paper badly photocopied, which is what my son is dealing with in the same way that I was dealing with it like 1,000 years ago when I went to school. So I vividly remember that as being a part of the educational system where I started to tune out, where I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Why do I have to label parts of the parafrickin-mesium? And I see him doing the same thing, going like, I just go online and look at this. But so Ari and James were both sort of like, woo-hoo-hoo, and they shared this link of this YouTube video, which is these gorgeous animations, and I believe some actual footage of of DNA and proteins in action and some cellular activity, and just makes it truly comes alive. And again, I find myself, bashing up against this educational system that has curriculum from the 1970s, and a need to learn. Who gives a crap about the parts of a paramecium? Unless you know what a paramecium is doing, unless you're seeing it, unless you get excited about it. When are you ever going to get asked, what part of the paramecium is that? If you're not in that crap. So like, so make it alive, make it exciting, and there's more chance that people will want to know what's inside the paramuseum and what each part of it does. You know, I'm questioning more and more, what is the base knowledge that kids need? And I'm beginning to wonder if that base knowledge might not just be inspiration. They might just need to get excited about something. That may be the base knowledge they need, because I think try to spoon feed them stuff that they don't want. Believe me, I've had a child. I know how badly that goes. So there you go. So a bunch of stuff to talk about today. Oh, my hearing aid just went like one of them just dropped right out. So yes. So I've got impending parents, so I should go and get ready for them. And you should try making it yourself. There's a bunch of great recipes that taste nice. But what are you guys making? What's Andrea making? I put up a new shelf in the basement, by the way, to help organize stuff. I'll give you a tour later. Another day I'll do a tour. And by the way, do you notice that? I'm going wide. I went with a wide scale today because somebody in one of the messages, I have a message, or one of the comments said, "Oh man, I missed the big wide shots." Well, here you go. Big wide Hewlett's back. And coffee cake. Oh yeah. And also somebody else pointed out that there was a leak in the coffee pot that I have, and they're right. I was looking at it. I was like, because when do you ever actually pour coffee like this? Bad idea generally. And in my case, it was. Luckily, I have glasses to protect my eyes. But I'm doing this, and I'm seeing, oh yeah, look, there's a little leak at the bottom, which of course you picked up because you're looking at it from an iPhone perspective. So yes, I will go and sort out stuff for my folks, and I will prepare for tonight, for 4 p.m. tonight, when we get to do some Tech Bandits chattery. And I'm really looking forward to it. I say to Jane all the time, it's just I so enjoy the process of finding things to talk about. I obviously enjoy the process of talking about things, as you can tell. And it's just really fun to get the bandits' perspective on this stuff. And then hopefully, I was going to do it tomorrow. I think I may have to move it because there's a few things coming up that I just don't know whether Wednesday's going to work or not. But Randy the Magician is Randy the Magician? Did I get that right? I hope I've got the tech worked out, Tammy. I really do. It's driving me freaking crazy, I got to say. Anyways, my magician friend is going to be joining us for a class, and it was going to be Wednesday. It may still be Wednesday, but is it Randy the Magician? Have I got it right? I'm so sorry. There's too many damn names. Too many names. The names. Anyways, Randy the Magician, there you go. Say hi to the folks. I'm sure they will be impressed that you know a magician. I'm sure they will be Randy the Magician. Should I be David the actor though? I mean, do I have to add that to my name now? I'm David the actor. Magicians get away with that stuff where other people don't. You know what I mean? Although I guess doctors do, because it's like doctor, they put that in front of their name. So maybe you could be Magician Randy. Ooh, there you go. Anyways, so I'm hoping that we can do Wednesday, but we may have to reschedule, Randy, just based on some stuff that's going on tomorrow. And last and not least, God, there was something else I wanted to talk to you about, and I can't remember what it was. It was something that was obviously not important, or maybe it was. Oh yes, I've put out some feelers about this ZPM urn for a Stargate fan who fan is a weird word, isn't it? I find fan somehow derogatory in a way. I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, I know it. I don't mean it that way, but I feel that sometimes it has a. It's come to seem almost predatorial when people on the other side of fandom talk about it. I always feel it has a certain predatorial business sense to it now that it never used to. So we got to come up with a better word than fan. Geek. I like geek because everyone geeks out about something, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a geek. Everyone is a geek about something, if that makes sense. So there was a library that had a whole advertising campaign about that. Like everyone geeks out about something, and I that really sort of tickled my fancy because I really believe that is the case. I just happen to geek out about a lot of things, a lot of the time. So yes. So the Magnificent Magic Man Meredith. That's pretty good. That's got a lot of M's in it. Fan is short for fanatic. Yeah, that's the problem, William. That's the problem. Is fanatic. You know, I actually looked at doing. I was thinking about calling it. We were working with a film company here before I saw the light and realized that this is the future. That this, like, live streams, YouTube, online, doing your own thing, doing it to a budget that you can afford, as opposed to being paid by other people to take it away and do what they want with it. The idea of like making projects that are limited by what you can afford to do. You know what I mean? Like, if you can't get enough people to help you make something, then should you make it? I'm beginning to question that now. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's different realms of that. No one's going to make an Avengers movie by themselves, nor should they probably. Well, maybe I say that. There's some beautiful sci-fi stuff out there, but that's like a life's work, if that makes sense. But I am questioning these massive salaries and these massive productions to make things that can be copied and sent on in the blink of an eye, actually in less time than the blink of an eye in some cases. So, so we were talking about the idea that maybe it could be fanatical entertainment, right? I thought, oh, what a cool hip term, fanatical, because it's fanatical. But it evokes, it evokes, as everything that I do seems to evoke, some kind of connection with terrorism. We were the tech terrors before, and then some parents were sort of a little nervous about the idea that their connection with terrors is terrorism. For me, a terror is just like a little terror running around. Like it's like every child I've ever met is a little terror in my mind, especially the tech bandits. And they loved being called terrors. They loved it. They were like always, I don't want to be bandits, I want to be the terrors. So I still refer to them as terrors all the time, but in sort of public, I refer to it as the bandits, because it's a little more kosher, shall we say? So the Tech Bandits is today. Yes, Lucretia, it is today. It's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to thetechbandits.com and sign up to the mailing list, because then you'll get the show notes if I ever get off this chat and go about my day. But yeah, so fan has a weird connotation to it, and hearing fanatic as well. It seems somehow pejorative. You know what I mean? It has like a pejorative sense to it that I don't know. So we need to come up with something better than fan, I think. Wish I could watch it. I got class then. Oh, Fox Girl, I'm sorry. What's the class, Fox Girl? What are you taking? Hannah, thank you very much. Hannah's signed up already. Look at that. I always come in too late. Oh, sardonic spirals. Come in too late? I started late today. Why? What? Computer applications. Ooh, cool, Fox Girl. Nice. I'm so jealous. I wish I could just go to school. I mean, there was a time, I hated school, absolutely hated school. And what am I saying? I wish I could go to school. I take that back. The reality is I wish I could just sit down and bury myself in one specific subject for a little while. It's one of the things I love about tutorials. What the heck? Who just did that? Peter DeRosa. I'd love to see you and Joe collaborate on something together again. Always enjoy to watch you stream. Thank you very much, Peter DeRosa. Yeah, Flanagan. I like that Flanagan guy. He's a good guy. He's doing some interesting stuff now. I think he was doing some kind of like political consulting. Like he was basically saying, using acting skills and his I guess, more Republican history to help Democrats get elected, I think was the idea. Something like that. It was kind of a neat thing. He's always got something neat going on, that guy. Like he's just a smart, very, very smart man, that guy. Very savvy as well. Loved school, hated getting up early. Yeah, no one should get up early. It sucks. Although, I remember reading a book called How to Get an Extra Hour Every Day. And the first thing it said, well, you could always get up an hour earlier. And I was like, okay. I closed the book, put it away. I was like, I think I've got the gist of this book. Flanagan's got a bearded look. Nice. Enthusiast. I like that. Yeah, enthusiasm is nice. I like that. Enthusiast. A Stargate enthusiast. I like that. Yeah, I think that's a way better word. Because it's got enthusiasm. It sounds happy. It makes me happy just saying it. So maybe I'm not a geek. Maybe I'm just an enthusiast. Yeah, that's kind of good. Yeah. All right, I'll try that. Brick texting fans been up for 6 hours. Making Lego, I hope. Or savvy, as in gate savvy. Savvy's good. Savvy's good. So like science savvy. That's not bad. Savvy's not bad too. Savvy, enthusiasts, aficionado. Aficionado, that's a fun word to say. That's true. No class. No class? You've got no class? Or you're saying I've got no class? Or you're saying you have no class, so you just were up all night? I loved learning, hated school because of swirlies and dead legs for being a geek. Swirlies and dead, oh God, really? I like enthusiasts. Ooh, connoisseurs. Connoisseurs is very good. Connoisseurs. It's long though. Enthusiast sort of snaps out somehow better. All right, everybody, I better go. Oh my God, 35 minutes. I got 35 minutes in before they go. Where the hell are they? All right, now I'm going to go check up and find out where they are. All right, everybody, I will say be safe, be kind, be brilliant. And until we geek again, which will be 4 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, go to thetechbandits.com and sign up for the mailing list so you can get the show notes. Cheerio and huzzah! Bye!